said, I'm going to write a book. Just for you. And I went home, and the next 2 weeks I wrote this book. The third week I revised it and sent it off to the publisher and said, if this thing's not out by the fall, you don't get it. Student, I should say professor, later read it, said it almost made an Adventism out of it. But it never quite made an Adventist out of it. What is it? Why are we Adventists? The question might be fairly easy for you to answer because you were born that way and you don't know anything else. But what does it take for somebody to become an Adventist? It takes conviction. When I became an Adventist, I lost my family. This is literal. My dad would not come to hear me preach for 30 years. Wow. I lost my job. I lost my friends. Why? Because of a conviction. Well, I want to go back. There's about 12 ways I can finish this talk. This is not a prepared speech. Okay? It's not an unprepared speech either. It's just that there are several forks in the road, and I can go several ways. But I want to get into a little specific context. I would like to suggest that a church that forgets its mission will eventually lose its way. Yes. A church that ignores its purpose will eventually lose its momentum and its support. And that goes, brother, for universities and colleges also. I mean, why spend a lot of money to send somebody to an Adventist school if it's just the same as an evangelical school? There is absolutely no reason to maintain Adventist churches or Adventist educational system unless there is something special about Adventism. Eventually, forgetting eventually leads to disaster. And eventually is the key word. Those kinds of ecclesiological educational crises do not happen in a day or a year. Rather, they just kind of silently creep up on religious bodies, even as the leadership and the ministerial force develop new programs and believe that all is well. A case in point, as Dr. Anderson noted, was Protestant liberalism, which by the 1920s had given up belief in such primitive ideas as the virgin birth, Christ's resurrection, the substitutionary atonement, miracles, the second advent, creationism, and of course, a divinely inspired Bible in the sense that the Bible has information from beyond the human realm that could be obtained from no other source but divine revelation. Human reason came to the fore as the source of knowledge, and doctrine became unimportant, in fact, distasteful. And Jesus was morphed from being a Savior who died in our place to being the best of good people and an example worthy of emulation. In the process, Christianity was largely transformed from the realm of religion to ethics. With those master strokes of the human intellect, Protestant liberalism effectively lost its distinctive Christian message, or to put it more bluntly, it had neutered itself. The eventual result was shrinkage by the millions in America's mainline denominations. Between 1965 and the early 1990s, the Presbyterian membership in North America shrunk from 4.2 million to 2.8 million members, a 34% drop. During the same period, Methodism went from 11 million to 8.7 million, a 21% drop in membership. Episcopalianism from 3.6 to 2.4 million, a 34% drop, and the Disciples of Christ from 2 million to 1 million, a 50% drop in membership. Beyond shrinkage, mainline average membership age shot up, and of course, morale plummeted. Newsweek blandly reported that the mainline denominations may be dying because they lost their theological integrity. A Duke University Divinity School professor put it somewhat more colorfully when he claimed that God is killing mainline Protestantism in America, and we blankety blank well deserve it. The mainline disaster spawned another of influential books on the topic in The Empty Church. This is a book title, The Suicide of Liberal Christianity. Thomas Reed suggests that the only hope for the mainline is to recover orthodox theology, including a faith in the all-powerful God who was and is capable of the miraculous. There are other books. Roger Fink and Rodney Stark's The Churching of America, 1776 to 1990, Winners and Losers. They argue, the outrageous thesis that religious organizations are stronger to the degree that they impose significant costs and even stigma upon their members. People tend to value religion on the basis of how costly it is to belong. The more one must sacrifice in order to be in good standing, the more valuable the religious affiliation. An interesting sociological finding, because we have been trying to make it as painless as possible. You don't even have to change.